got Ramanujacharya, Anantacharya. So many exalted Vaishnavas are also worshipping the deities. And in fact, in certain sampradayas, the main lead mahant or sampradaya acharya will worship the deities, others will just assist him in deity worship. Deity worship is given that seat. And it's a privilege. So while advanced devotees do smarana, sometimes these advanced devotees, they don't worship elaborately the deities because of their advanced age or their personal preference of just doing Krishna smarana. They engage their younger ones, descendants, or followers in worshipping the deities. That's about exalted devotees. Let's come to other categories of devotees. It is especially meant for sadhaka grihasthas, especially those who are opulent, they have a lot of wealth, a lot of money. They need to utilize that money in worshipping the deities. Otherwise, money which is not engaged in Krishna's seva could become a great distraction in devotional service. And deity worship presents a wonderful opportunity for us to divert that money in Krishna's seva. When Lakshmi is used in the service of Narayana, Lakshmi feels happy, and the person who has that Lakshmi also becomes happy. Then Agni Purana says, any householder devotee circumstantially unable to worship the deities must at least see the deity worship. See their deities being worshipped by pujaris. That also will give them some success, because sometimes people may not be able to worship the deities elaborately. Sudama Brahman, he doesn't have food to eat only, but will he worship the deities? So we can at least witness deity worship. Aarti, attending Aarti, attending Abhishek ceremonies, attending or taking darshan of the deities. This is also a part of deity worship. However, if there is an opportunity, personally engaging oneself in deity worship also is recommended, especially for opulent householders. Then, this I kind of covered it. Bhakti is defined as service to the Lord using the senses. It should be done with the intention of pleasing the Lord, free of other desires and unobstructed by other processes. I hinted it when we were recollecting Ahituki Apratihta Yatma Suprasidati. Worship of the deities must not be materially motivated. Krishna is staying in my home or in my temple, in our temple. So it's my privilege, it's my fortune to express my love for Krishna in the form of some service. But I am not doing this service for recognition, not for photos, not for name, not for fame. Sometimes it becomes like a competition. Who will get the most privileged service? Who will offer the Maha Arati? Who will do the festival dressing? You should put me for festival dressing, not for normal dressing. You should give me Mangala Arati, not Vaikalik Arati. You should give me Radha Krishna duties. Gopal Singh, Gauratta. I worship Radha Krishna. And sometimes amongst the deities also there is some kind of preference. Of course, sometimes the devotee may be very specifically attracted to a particular form of the Lord or particular deity. Out of love and affection, they may prefer. I will worship Radharani. I will dress Radharani only. I may not dress Krishna kind. Why you want to worship Radharani? One thing, my liking. Second, she doesn't wear turban. Putting turban is like, it requires too many artistic skills. I won't be able to do that. So let me just dress Radharani. That's fine. Lack of skill or some extra affection, that's fine. But sometimes there is some desire for public attention. If there is any tinge of material motive there, desire for public attention or some extra privilege, visibility, photos, this and that, so many other things. You can click photo, not an issue, but worship of the deity is primary. So these are some finer nuances where our attitude is tested. When we serve the deities in the right attitude, then the Lord will be pleased and the Lord will be very happy to bestow all his benedictions. And the greatest benediction is Krishna Parima. Next. You know this Mamana Bhavatotto. Sravanam Kirtanam also, we discussed it. I want to take more questions this time. And Krishna is the enjoyer and we are the servitor. That mood should be there. This is something which Prabhupada highlights in the third canto 15th chapter purports. We know the essence of all the processes of bhakti is smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatachit. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. That's the essence of all the scriptures, all the rules and regulations of all the scriptures. But how many people can handle that smarana? So, to be able to remember Krishna always is not so easy. Prabhupada says, for a smaranam is Sravana. For a smaranam is Archana. You actually hear about the Lord. That's a better way of remembering the Lord than directly trying to remember. Because when we close our eyes to remember the Lord, so many other remembrances will manifest. So, Shravanam is more practical than Smarana. And Archanam is more practical than Smarana. Instead of closing your eyes and meditating on some forms, better open your eyes and see the form of the Lord. And that seeing of the form of the Lord has its own benefits. Deities can be made in any of these forms. I think in the online class that we had, how many were there? In the online session that we had? Only few. I think some of these points I shared. Deities can be manifested in any of these sand, clay, stone and all. This, you remember?
Yes.
We shared.
Yes.
It all depends on the attitude with which we approach. When we have the right attitude, our approach will be, our result will be better. Madhyishna darshana sparsha puja stutya. In the various angas of bhakti that Kapila Dev explains in the third canto of Bhagavatam, 29th chapter, he says deity worship is one of the prominent ones. Madhyishna darshana sparsha. Dhrishna is deity form. Darshana, see that form. Sparsha, touch that form. Puja, worship that form. Stuti, praise that form. Abhivandanehi, offer obeisances. So he puts deity worship as one of the foremost angas of bhakti. Even in Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Vidhi, Bhagavatam is speaking about deity worship. Then Bhuteshu mad bhavanaya sattvena asangamena cha. Also we need to develop a detached and spiritual vision. And we cannot just give so much importance only to the deity and neglect the devotees or offend the devotees or disrespect the devotees. One who disrespects the devotees while worshipping the deities, the Lord will not be pleased to accept such worship. We'll discuss about that a little more. Mahatam Bahumanena, respecting all the devotees. Deenana Anukampaya, being compassionate upon normal people. Maitriya Chaivatma Tulyeshu, friendship with Atma Tulyeshu means people who are equal to us. Yamena Niyamena Cha, and also following the rules and regulations prescribed. Adhyatmika Anusravanam, hearing about the Lord. Nama Sankirtana, chanting. Arjavena, simplicity. The deities must be dressed opulently, but the devotees must present themselves in a simple manner. Simplicity is very important, Arjavena. And simplicity is not just in the physical attire, simplicity in the mood. When the mind is very crooked, diplomatic, duplicitous, hypocritical, cunning, manipulative, then in that mood if you worship the deities will find our worship very unpalatable. So mood is very important. Simplicity, Arjavam, Arjavam simplicity, Saralata. Then Nirahankriya Tatha. Nirahankara means no false ego. Sometimes while worshipping the deities, a pujari may think, I am the deity. For anyone to access the deity, they should go through me only. Pujari. Telugu, how many people are from Telugu Andhra? Okay, quite a few. Half the crowd is Andhra. There is one saying, Devadu Varavachana Pujari Varavadani. Means the Lord may give you goods, Pujari will block it. Pujari will not allow that to reach the devotee. So they are at the entrance, right? So they feel a sense of closeness to the deities and they ridicule common devotees who do not have that closeness. That's a bit very unpleasant. The Lord will not accept, will not be happy with such a worship of a devotee who disregards other living entities. Kapil Dev personally says this. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatmavasthitas satan tamavajnaya mam vartya kurute archa vidambana. Avajna means disregard. If you disregard other living entities and do archana of the Lord, it's vidambana. It's just an imitation. Just like kids imitate. When your mother is cooking, kids will imitate the mother by taking some toy utensils. Oh, I'm making paratha, I'm making paneer fried rice, I'm rolling chapatis. They are not doing anything. They are just playing. They are imitating the mother. So that's imitation. Our actual worship becomes an imitation when we disregard other living entities. Second point is dvesha. Dveshataha parakayema manino bhinna darshanaha. Dveshataha means a lot of hatred towards other living entities. Not just devotees, other living entities. Anybody, if you hate or envy, the Lord will not accept that worship. It's like offering oblations into ashes. Criticism, unnecessary criticism. There is something called constructive criticism, where you speak, where you point out the faults in a person, only to help them grow. Hey, you are doing this. This is not correct. Can you please do like this, so that your work will become more accurate? So like that, you point out faults in another person to help the person grow. That is fine. But if you unnecessarily find fault with them only to discourage them, demean them, disrespect them, show off one's knowledge, pressurize them, subdue them, just to show your superiority. Sometimes we give corrections to other people, although they don't need to be corrected. Sometimes just to show off our knowledge and just to make them aware that I know, I'm experienced in this, we speak out. Although it's not necessary to speak every time. So that kind of dominant mentality, pressurizing mentality, or bossing over mentality, especially in devotee circles, that will make one lack peace. They don't experience that peace. Avamanata means criticism or insulting people. So we will not have peace of mind because the outlook is to constantly establish one's superiority over others. Some experienced deity worshippers will come. The younger ones are doing the worship. They can help. They can correct when some things are going wrong. But even if nothing is wrong, they speak out only to show that they're experienced, only to announce that they're experienced in this field. So sometimes when they speak, the younger ones become a little discouraged or demotivated. If the younger one is getting discouraged because of false ego, that's a problem. We are not speaking about that. They're genuinely worshipping. The experienced person comes and then chastises them, finds fault with them, discourages them. They feel like, why am I doing here? You only do not. Why did you call us? Why did you call us and engage us in this worship? And they are finding 100 faults in us and dominating us constantly. They feel little discouraged. So that we should not do. So offenses in bhakti, even if there are some mantra chanting is little inaccurate, the Lord can tolerate. But if you disrespect another devotee, Lord cannot tolerate that. If you discourage, somebody came with a genuine desire to serve, and you speak such harsh words and disrespectful words that they just run away from here. Some major offense they do, major mistake they do. You are going for daily worship, Abhishek, You made paraphernalia, spending 45 minutes you have made paraphernalia, and this guy came and dropped it. Right? Then that's a time you can chastise. And your chastisement is relevant. But some small things you keep on bossing over them, the Lord also will feel uncomfortable. And such a person who has a bossing over mentality, they create such negative ambience and negative vibrations in the altar. And the entire altar becomes heated up, charged with negative vibes. Because the deities must be worshipped in a jolly mood, happy mood, pleasant mood, not in an agitated mood, not with anxiety in the mind, not with some pressure in the mind. Corrections also must be given in a very loving manner, friendly manner. Right in the altar, when the devotees are worshipping the deities or serving the deities or decorating the deities, if somebody speaks something negative, seriously, in a wrong mood, inappropriate mood, then other devotees will feel little discouraged and the Lord will be displeased to receive worship. Because you just chastise the other person is going in the altar and then offering bhoga, with what mindset will he offer? What's there in the mind? Anxiety, guilt, or shame is there. You shamed the other devotee who came for deity worship. And when he is worshipping with that feeling of shame and feeling of guilt and feeling of disappointment in the heart, then the Lord is not very pleased. So we need to be jolly. Jolly was not hyper excited. That's not jolly mode in deity worship. But be happy, be pleasant, be calm, be cool, be composed. In anxiety, we may create some damage to the deities. When the mind is somewhere else, thinking of some anxious, with some anxiety in the mind, we may consciously or unconsciously hurt the deity souls. They are thinking of something else and carrying the turban, that the pill will go into the deity. It may hurt the deity. And sometimes, for example, Radharani bangles are there. Use your two hands. I am telling you with sufficient experience and observing so many things. Use two hands to put the bangle. Now, regularly,
normally devotees might take a bangle and then to do like this, okay, with one hand. For human beings, it's fine.
But for delicate, fragile marble deities, if you put a bangle with one hand, sometimes the bangles are springs. They are little elastic, and if they are metal, they are made of metal, and you try to put with one hand, it just hurts the deity, right? When the elastic just contracts, it hurts the deity. The marble man can get chipped off also. When there is a scratch on the deity's body, we are scratching our spiritual life. Extreme care has to be maintained when you are putting this. There are some sharp edges in some jewelry, especially earrings, for example. How they are made is with some stick, naturally. Human beings, they just put their stick insert into the holes in the ears, and from there behind there is. But that may not be possible for the deities. Sometimes deities' ear also has some holes, but sometimes deity ears do not have holes. So you need to stick with tag. So when you cut that little stick, ensure that you file it nicely so that the sharp edge will not hurt the deity. And put sufficient tag, not so much tag that it covers the jewelry itself, but sufficient tag which is hidden nicely and holds the jewelry nicely. And then that little tag, if it touches the hair will get spoiled, wig will get spoiled. And on top of it, especially these ears, the deity ears are very delicate. Little bit of marble is hanging there. When you put even slightly more pressure than required to put the earring there, if you are not careful, that little thing may get broken also. So you need to be extremely careful. And even deities also must be made with good care, that they are sturdy and they stand like that for hundreds of years to come. The deity material also has to be chosen like that. The deity stone with which the deity is being carved, it has to be chosen properly, very carefully. Sometimes many temples do 2-3 sets, and one set they will finalize. One is for features, second is for the quality of stone. Sometimes they take a nice stone and they start chipping, and then they understand the stone is not proper. Discard that stone, they get new stone. Of course, all that may not be the consideration of the deity worshippers. We are talking about already established deities. But there, when you are putting your jewelry and other things, you need to be very careful. You are offering obeisances to the deities. Better avoid. Obeisances you offer on the ground, outside. Inside the temple, you don't put your head at the lotus feet of the deity directly. Sometimes devotees have this sentiment. Directly put the head, and rather his hand is like this. When you lift your head, if your head is like this, what will happen to the hand? I'm not speaking what will happen to the head. It's okay, if something happens to the head, it's okay, it will be normal. Especially marble deities. If you brass deity, you may break your head, nothing will happen to the hand. But it's an offense still to mishandle the deities. Person is standing there. So these are minor nuances. Gaurnitai, sometimes their hands are like this. The gap between the hands of Gauranga and Nityananda is very less. There when you are putting shirt or putting some bangles, you need to be extremely careful. Especially the fingertips, which are very, very delicate. When you are putting some rings there, don't press so much. It's very delicate. How much energy you have to put to hold this garland? Sufficient. If you just hold it tightly, the flower will be squeezed, right? So whatever energy you are putting to hold a flower or hold an apple, that much pressure only you put when you are putting, especially the stones on fingers and earrings here. Nathani, for example. You are putting Nathani here. Don't put tag inside the nose. Right? It's outside. They have to breathe also. Radharani has to breathe. Lalitas Devi, Vishaka, they have to breathe. And it has to nicely hang like this. These are getting into details of dressing, but basically care. Don't create a very tense ambience in the altar by being in a wrong mood and spoiling the mood of other pujaris. Especially during dressing, you have to work with 2-3 other pujaris who are also on the altar, depending on how many deities are there on the altar. There, we need to be very careful not to create a negative ambience. And at home, again, we should not have a negative ambience at home. And the deities will regulate our emotions. Because deities are there, although in anger we have to speak 2-3 statements, it will come to one statement only. Because deities are there, we are a little conscious. Our behavior will become naturally sattvic when the deities are present. It's supposed to become sattvic. Then realize and understand that everybody is servant of the Lord, potentially a child of the Lord. Therefore, I should respect everyone. So, natural respectful attitude will be induced by worshipping the deities. Then, okay, this I think we discussed in that seminar. I will not elaborate on it. Someone read this.
The devotee offers eatables in the form of vegetables, fruits, leaves, and water to the Archa Vigraha. The Lord, being Bhakta Vatsala, compassionate upon his devotees, accepts these offerings.
Next. Swami Krishna Padaramandeya we discussed. And we have not discussed, we can go through it at your home. This we recited here, in our online seminar. Should we do it? Jihve ki ettaya keshavam puraripum cheto bhadashriharam vani vanga samachaya chakatha shrodradvayatvam shunu krishnam lokayochanadvaya hare gacchantiyumayam jigratranam gundavadavasim murdhananadokshajam. This one shloka describes various activities that we do as part of our deity worship. Jihve kirtaya, praise the Lord. Muraripum cheto bhaja, be conscious of the Lord in your mind. Bhaja Sridharam Pani Dvandva Samarchaya. With your two hands, you worship the Lord. Achyuta Kathaha Srotra Dvayatvam Srunu. With your two ears, hear the Lord's pastimes. Krishnam Lokaya. See the deity form of the Lord with your eyes. Gacchangri Yugmalayam. Go to the temple of the Lord with your legs. Jikhara Dhrana Mukunda Pada Tulasi. With your nostrils, smell the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Murdhanna Madhokshajam. Offer obeisances to the Lord with your head. So all these are connected to deity worship. This is Mukundmala Stotra by Kulashekara Alva. And the tulsi leaves transformed even the four Kumaras. Just by smelling the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, impersonalists became personalists. Because they are personalists, we believe that God is a person and He has a form. Deity worship is important for us. We are not impersonalists. Sometimes when a transcendentalist or a spiritualist is not so much connected to deity worship or even seeing the deities, they may consciously or unconsciously have impersonalistic tendencies also. The Lord is everywhere. I can just access the form or access the Lord anywhere. What is the need of any personal form? Then we don't feel like going to the spiritual world also. We don't feel like meeting Krishna also. Krishna is everywhere. I don't need to see him personally. It's okay. So personalism means we believe that God is a person as a form. And when they saw the form of the Lord, when they smelled the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, then four Kumaras became personalists. Tasyara Vindanayanasya Padaravinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antarkataha Swavivarena Chakara Tesham Samshobhamakshara Visham Apichitta Tanvo Tasyara Vindanayanasya Padaravinda. These are the beautiful lotus feet of the Lord, and smelling tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they became transformed. And coming to deity worship paraphernalia, the Maha that comes from deity worship. Uddhava says, Tvayopa Bhukta Sraggandha Vaso Lankara Chachita Uchishta Bojino Dasa Savamayam Jayemahi Tvaya Upabhukta Sraggandha. Srag means garlands. Gandha means sandalwood pulp. Vasa means clothes. Alankara Chachita, ornaments and other decorations. Upabhukta means the Lord has experienced, Lord has enjoyed them. So, Uchishta Bhojino means the remnants of food that the Lord has eaten. If we honor them, if we honor the Maha garlands, if we honor Maha Prasadam, if we honor the Maha sandalwood pulp, if we honor any paraphernalia of the deities, Tava Mayam Jayemahi, we will conquer Maya. Uddhava is saying this. We can conquer Maya by honoring the Maha of the Lord. So never underestimate the potency of the Maha garland which is offered to the deities. Never underestimate the potency of Mahaprasad. We will never generally. Mahaprasad we will never underestimate. But other paraphernalia also we need to give that value. And Maha also, if it is cake, if it is pizza, we can value this Mahaprasad. It's a Mahaprasad. Non-spicy khichdi Mahaprasad. Once it is offered to the deities, we can honor it. We have to honor it. That will help us overcome Maya. This is the wake-up prayer. So savadam prakaruno bhagavan vivriddha premasmitena nayana puruham vijrumbhan uttaya vishvajaya yajano vishalam madhyagiram nayata purusha purana. So savadam prakaruno bhagavan vivriddha. Lord Brahma chanted this wake-up prayer right in the beginning of the creation to wake up Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is lying on the Garbhodaka ocean. Brahma appeared from his navel and and he saw Garbhodursa Vishnu and chanted this prayer. And this is the prayer which we chant before waking up deities in the morning. We get up, we wake up the deities. First we wake up and then we can wake up the deities. Then we chant this prayer. You know what is the significance of this prayer? Oh Lord, you are Arabhara Karuna. You are extremely compassionate and merciful. Prema Smitena, with your loving smiles. Nayana Buruham Vijruman, open your eyes and shower your loving glances along with your smiles. Utthaya Vishwa Vijayaya Tano Vishadam. You please destroy all the Vishada, all the lamentation of all people in this world. Vishwa Vijayaya, let there be victory to this whole Vishwa, this universe. For him, his daily service is to create the universe. Brahma's daily service is to create the universe. And we have our daily service. We have so many services during the day. It could be profession, it could be family, it could be temple services. We have some services. Let there be success in that service. So we are waking up the deities early in the morning and asking them to shower their loving glances upon all of us so that we are empowered to do our daily service. Without seeing the deity form of the Lord every day in the morning, if we try to do our services, we may think we have to do this. But if we offer prayers in front of the deities, you are traveling, you may keep some deity photo at least. That's the first thing that many devotees do after they get up. See the deity form of the Lord. But as soon as people get up, they see Instagram. They see, what is that? Facebook. As soon as they get up, instead of doing that, social media, they can see the deity form of the Lord and allow the deities to shower their loving smiles and glances upon us and offer a prayer. Oh Lord, please allow my daily services to become successful. I want to serve you. I want to offer these services to you today. You glance upon me and empower me to do the services. That's how Brahma's day begins. That's how our day also should begin. So Brahma's deity is Garbhodursa Vishnu directly, and we have our own deities. Then Madhya Girapanayata Purushaha Puranaha. Please speak. May you lovingly speak so that we are encouraged and we are enlightened to do your service. And what is that speech? Srimad Bhagavatam. So every day we need to do three things. See the deities, hear Bhagavatam and chant holy names. That's how our day should begin. Let the day begin with showering, begin with nourishing ourselves with the glances of the deities and chanting the holy names and hearing some Harikatha. That's a wonderful way. We can even keep some quota. Chanting though, no compromise. 1.5, 2 hours, 16-hour rounds we will go. Hear a little bit of Bhagavatam, at least 1 hour is great. If you can, at least 15 minutes of audio clip or video clip. There are so many YouTube videos now, Harikatha. So let's begin the day with some little Shravana. And also see the deities. Offer obeisance to the deities. A few minutes standing in front of the deities. So that's a glorious way of beginning the day. Madhavendra Puri's devotion, dedication and determination to this service is unparalleled. The Lord personally said, you please excavate me. Madhavendra Puri is a sannyasi. But the Lord says, you worship me. Sannyasis also, not only grahasthas. Pragada premere svabhava achar nija dukha vignadira nakare vichar. When there is a lot of prema, then even though there are some difficulties in getting up early in the morning, to worship the deities, devotees will just get up. You see, sometimes Mayapur there is floods, devotees are going, devotees go in boats and worship Radha Madhav. Devotees are submerged till their waist level in the water and they are worshipping Narasimha. And some places they are extremely cold. Still devotees get up early in the morning and worship the deities, break ice and take bath and worship the deities. This is how devotees exhibited so much of faith in the process of deity worship. Pratima nahe tumi sakshat Vrajendra Nandan, Vipralage kara tumi akarya karan. You are not a Pratima, you are not a statue standing there. You are Sakshat Rajendra Nandan. This young Brahmana in this Sakshi Gopal episode, he had that faith and simplicity to believe that the Lord is, the deity is the Lord Himself. And to the degree we have faith in the form of the deity, to that degree the deity will reciprocate. This young Brahmana said that you are not a Pratima, you are Lord Himself. And he said you should come and give Sakshi. And Sakshi Gopal said deities don't walk. And his Brahmana said if deities can talk, they can walk also. So the Lord is defeated. Logically, this devotee defeated the Lord, and Lord said, okay, I'll walk. What is the proof that you are walking? You are asking me not to look behind. He said, you will hear my ankles sound. So that's how he walked. So to that degree he had faith. Therefore he got this reciprocation. Of course, we may not expect the Lord to walk for us. Only if he walks like he walked behind the young Brahmana, I will worship the deities. We cannot say that. But we can understand the potency of the deity, and to the degree we are faithful, to that degree deities will reciprocate. The milk example again. Okay, I think we will stop here. There are many more things. This one very interesting thing. Hasam Hare. I think let's conclude with this. Hasam Hare Ravanata Khilalo Katibra Shokashru Sagar Visoshanamatyudaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Nijamaya Yasya Bhrumandalam Munikrite Makaradhajasya. One last point on the potency of deities. The conditioned soul, while experiencing material miseries, has created an ocean of tears. And when we see the beautiful smile of the Lord, the ocean of tears is dried up completely. Every time we see the smile of the Lord, when the Lord manifests Himself in the form of a deity, see the smile. How many of you had this experience when you had tremendous anxiety? You went and stood in front of the deities, 5 minutes of prayer, seeing Him. Your mind automatically calmed, right? Yeah. That's the beautiful smile of the Lord. Material beauty agitates the mind, but spiritual beauty pacifies the mind, calms the mind. The deity's beauty is spiritual, not material. When somebody goes in front of the deities, the lust automatically calms down, is pacified. Anxiety pacified. Fear is eliminated. That's how deity darshan has a great impact on our consciousness. One more thing. Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya bhrumandalam munikrite makaradhajasya. Sammohanaya rachitam. Oh Lord, you have manifested these beautiful eyebrows by your spiritual potency. These eyebrows are like bows. And your glances are like arrows that are coming from the box. When we expose ourselves to the arrows of your glances, we will be saved from the arrows of Cupid. Cupid is showering his arrows upon us, constantly instigating conjugal desires amongst people, and then instigating and inspiring and provoking conditioned souls to come in contact with the opposite gender. See, please protect us from the arrows of Cupid. Kandarpadarpahara sundara divya murte Kanta kuchamburuha kutmalalola drishte Kalyana nirmala gunakara divya kirte Shri Venkatachalapate tava suprabhatam Kandarpadarpahara sundara divya murte. The Lord can completely steal the pride of even Cupid. When we see the beautiful form of the deities, we will overcome lust. Lust is one of the prominent reasons why a conditioned soul stays in the material world. And by seeing the form of the deities, our lust will be eliminated, or whatever attraction we have towards the opposite gender's material form, external form, which is a manifestation of individual energy, that will go away. We will become more spiritually enlightened. That's the power of taking darshan of the deities. What to speak of touching them, bathing them, worshipping them, dressing them, feeding them, offering obeisances to them. Just by seeing the deity form, one can be protected from the glances of people. Kandarpa koti kamaniya visesha shobha. That's the potency of Krishna. And we can realize all the descriptions of Krishna's beauty as described in Bhagavatam when we worship the deities. You may hear descriptions of Krishna's beauty, Varaha, Pidam, Natavara, Vabu, Karnayo, Kandikaram and all. But when we actually worship in the deity form of the Lord, we understand, oh, Krishna is really so beautiful. And as the more we worship the deities, over the years, their youth increases, their beauty increases. You see, pick up any temple, see the photograph of the deity of the temple 10 years back and compare it to the deity now. It's not just the lighting and decoration, even the faces also they glow by receiving the service of the deities, by eating sex offerings. they become more and more nourished and chubby and happy and sometimes in some temples the outfit also would not fit the deities because they have become little heavy, chubby. And sometimes you see they are very their expressions also keep changing. Of course, sometimes because of lighting also they may change, but depending on the mood of the devotees also, the expressions of the deities will change. So Prabhupada, deities are very tired. Are you offering them this many offerings every day? Prabhupada asked, no, there is a financial constraint. Prabhupada, they raise it for funds. You worship them, they look a little weak. They look a little tired and fatigued. So devotees can even detect the emotions of the deities because they have emotions. Exalted devotees can do it, but for us, just follow the Vedic process. There are a few thoughts, any questions or comments?
So Prabhu, this one point about not committing offenses while performing devotional service. Yeah, this is wonderful points that don't disregard, don't have hatred or criticism for other devotees or other jivas. You said, but unfortunately, it's there. It's very visible and it can be experienced. You just have to step in front of any devotee. So I would like to know if you have any thoughts on how. So you explained that for seniors, they should not do it to the juniors or whatever is the scenario. But what should be the attitude of a junior when something happens to them? Then how can they not get so anxious that their offering to the deities also is disturbed, but not get too agitated? What should be the attitude of the receiver? Tolerance.
Prabhupada writes in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Seniors, even if they do some mistakes sometimes, they should not be offered in a verbal fight. That's a general etiquette. Prabhupada also makes a point that if they are like Bhishma and Drona who take the side of Adharma, after verbal fight you can even throw arrows also. That's what he told Arjuna. Krishna told Arjuna. But in all general cases, we need to tolerate. Even their chastisement we will tolerate. Our patience will calm them down if they are really agitated. But if there is a reason for their agitation, generally speaking, someone who has been around for a while, those who have little maturity, they wouldn't chastise others for no reason. There must be some reason. If there is a mistake on my part, and when a senior is chastising me for my mistake, let me be honest enough to accept the mistake, realize the mistake, admit the mistake, apologize for the mistake, try to rectify the mistake, try not to repeat that mistake, repent for the mistake, and remember the mistake. 8 points. That your question, 8 answers are But if they are getting agitated unnecessarily, sometimes mistake is this much and reaction is that much. Parikshit made a small mistake and he was cursed to dying service. Chitraketu made a small mistake, he was cursed to become a demon. But both of them tolerated, they did not retaliate. but we may not have that much tolerance. Then at least while doing worship, tolerate. Don't escalate the matter. For example, if two people are fighting, one person is unnecessarily getting overly agitated, if the other person also gets agitated, then that will agitate the other person even more. That will provoke the person to shout even more. The fight will increase. Service will get compromised. Okay, let me deal with this person a little later. Let the worship be over. Let me be patient. Let me be calm. Let me not take it so seriously. Once the worship is over, after that, take an appointment, sit with them, clarify things if at all you have to clarify, and ask them what makes them. You can switch off the mic.
No, there is
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
What makes them so angry like this? So you can just inquire. If they have some other issues, then you can always try to resolve them by discussion. But in the order, let's make it conclusion. Any other question? Approve.
So, Prabhu, sometimes some devotees give gift, deities as gift. They would like to give deities as gift to someone. But the other person is not ready to worship them yet. So there are two perspectives. One is like Krishna is willing to come to your house, so we should not say no. The other side is that we are not ready to worship them, we don't have the capacity to do anything. So what is your thoughts on it?
Depends on who is giving the gift. Somebody who is very exalted, senior devotee, or a sannyasi, or a guru, or Siksha Guru, or Diksha Guru, somebody senior, mature devotee who knows you sufficiently is offering a gift out of love and affection. We can try to accept it and then try to worship to the best of our ability and also have a discussion. It's not like one way thing. Take your duties and worship. They will say, and then you can also express, this is my situation currently, and there's some kind of discussion, negotiation, and they will say keep these minimal standards. It's not that nobody will forcefully give you. But if you have hesitation, you can express that hesitation and get a clarification. But some people, they don't want to do it. They don't want to worship. Let me give it to somebody in the form of gift. So we need to be a little careful. Take guidance from seniors like that. But when it is offered by a senior devotee as a well-wisher who knows us very well, then we need to respect it and value it and accept if it is possible for us. If it is not, then express it honestly. Then after some discussion, if they still insist, then we can take. But immediate reply should not be no. Immediate reply should be at least an attempt to honor it, especially when it comes from a senior person. If it comes from not so senior like someone around, then you can always communicate, I'm not yet ready for it. You can find another qualified candidate. I also have my duties at home. I have other responsibilities. I don't want to accept it and commit an offense. You can always clarify it. It can be sentimental and emotional. If you exhibit sentiments and emotions at that moment, later we have to face the consequences when we commit some offenses. Better clarify.
That's a follow-up question on the same thing. So, because these are home deities, so the tendency is that okay, somebody is giving deities as gift. Anyway, home deities are different from the installed deities or temple deities. So it's okay. Meaning the tendency is to worship put a very low standard. Maybe once a week do offering or once in 2 weeks, whatever. So
Offering should be a daily affair. Once in a week dressing is fine. Once in Ekadashi dressing is fine, but offering should be how much we are offering to our body every day? 2 times, 3 times. Those many times I have offered to the deities also. At least you take prasadam. Yes. Sorry to interrupt.
no, that was one point. Another point is that we always try to distinguish between installed deities where prana pratishtha is done versus home deities where they are welcome but there is no proper installation, formal installation. So the human tendency is to take the lowest and the least possible option to serve them. Meaning, okay, anyway, these are again, it comes back to the same point that we become relaxed or lax. We do not pay attention that okay, these are home deities. still they are Krishna, other than Krishna, we have to be careful. The tendency is gone because we distinguish between the home deities versus, so we become more relaxed.
That distinction is presented mainly to highlight the importance of temple worship and also inspire people to keep the home deities as like expansions are secondary to the main temple deities and also not to scare them by saying that hey, it's such a good thing it's like too much burden for me, they should not feel like that. To keep it very easy or keep standard simple, worship the deities. They are Krishna and they are Krishna depending on our consciousness. When the consciousness is not proper, even temple deities, installed deities also are not Krishna for a person who is not in proper consciousness. But when person is in proper consciousness and devotee is in proper consciousness, even home deities can enter their dreams and then say, I want this item, you offer it to me tomorrow. That also can happen. So we cannot underestimate the potential of any deity. Deity is potent, home deity or temple deity or ham deity, deities are potent to the degree we are conscious in worshiping them. But nevertheless, these distinctions are also there. Temple deity takes primary prominence for a community. And home deities are there definitely. We need to worship them, but temple deity takes more prominence.
Thank you.
So Prabhu, you distinguish very nicely between Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavad Vidhi. Now, sometimes there are some devotees who are naturally inclined more towards Bhagavad Vidhi, and they don't have that much of interest in Pancharatrika Vidhi. And then, but you said, okay, Prabhupada said, right, that no, all of them has to go hand in hand. If you do this, then other things will also come. If you do Pancharatrika Vidhi, then Bhagavad Vidhi will also come very nicely to you. So, but in some cases, naturally, some devotees like, it's just not in me to do the deity worship. Or sometimes somebody say it's naturally not in me to read Bhagavatam on regular basis or listen to classes. So, is that not?
Got your concern. Basically, in what mode are we giving importance to one over the other? That matters. Again, mode. Let me give you an example. Showing back to the deities in a temple is disrespect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stepping on the shadow of another devotee is disrespect. It's an offense, right? But how do we attend Guru Puja in most temples? Showing back to the deities, most of the temples. Some places, deities are here and proper deities like this. So you kind of don't show your back to the deity, you show your side profile to the deities. Okay. But most temples, Prabhupada is right in front of the deities, opposite. He is also taking darshan whole day. There, when you have to face Prabhupada, all the devotees are together showing back to the deities. Are they offending the deities? Or all the devotees are showing their back to Prabhupada? Are they offending Prabhupada? The point is the mood. To worship a clear devotee, you are turning your face towards the devotee. In that attempt, you happen to show your back to the deities, but not on the menu. Right? Similarly, in the case of Pancharatrika versus Bhagavatam, some devotees have natural taste for Bhagavatam, natural taste for Sravanam and Kirtanam, but they don't have disregard for deity worship. And some people have natural taste in deity worship, but they don't disrespect Sravanam and Kirtanam. They don't say, worship of the deities is main thing. हमेशा भागवतम लगे हुए पढ़ते रहते हैं. That kind of disregard and disrespectful attitude towards other limb of bhakti is the offense. But you don't have disrespect towards other limb of bhakti. Sravanam Kirtanam, you value it. And you value and respect all the devotees who are observing Sravanam Kirtanam. But you have some extra liking for deity worship, do it. No problem. Or you have extra liking for Sravanam Kirtanam, you want to chant more rounds. Deity worship is not that interested. That's fine. You are not disrespecting, but you like that more. So any one limb is sufficient. That's what Rupa Goswami said, right? Of the 5 limbs, any one limb is sufficient. But your absorption in one limb, if it creates disrespect towards other limbs, that's a problem. That's an offense. You don't disrespectfully stay away from other limbs, but you respect it, but you have special life. Even within Bhagavatam also, for example. Some devotees naturally like some pastimes. They like Prahlad Maharaj's pastime more than other pastimes. They like Dhruva Maharaj's pastime more than all other pastimes. They like Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes more than Dwarka pastimes. That does not mean they are disrespecting other cantos of Bhagavatam. They have their liking. Some like Gajendra more. Or both. Yesterday you had I want more description of Gajendra. So the last year I spoke Gajendra. Again you asked the same topic. Oh, I want to hear once more. Last year lecture I had already 10 times. I want to hear it once again. They have that special attraction toward that pastime. But they are not disregarding other pastimes. Yes. How many questions will you take?
No, I just want to ask, like what Alankar was asking, right? Like, what is our mood, right? Like, we should not disrespect others. But what I also observe, right? Sometimes, let's say, someone senior is asking you to do something. So now everyone has their mood, right? Someone like book distribution, some like temple services, some like deity worship. Everyone has their mood, and when like a senior person is asking you to do a certain thing in their mood, and they are trying to tell you, you should do only this, right? You should only do book distribution, you should only do temple service. So it's not like you disrespecting the service, but when you ask and when you say no, you kind of feel guilt, right? Like, I'm saying no to this, isn't it more important, or that is more important? It's kind of very bewildering, right?
Yeah.
Like to decide.
Bewildering, confusing, and taxing to the brain. But answer is simple. The whole spiritual life is based on aligning with the will of Guru. We may like to do some things, but when Guru tells us to do something, we happily and enthusiastically do it. It's not my preference. It's what Guru expects from me. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasada. Sometimes many of our likings are based on our own mind's desires, or intellectual concoctions, or egoistic tendencies. Our subtle body drives our decisions and preferences. But Guru knows how to serve Krishna better. So we align with Guru's mood. However, Guru also would not push us beyond certain extent. Initially, Guru may push, do this, not that, this. So all that is a part of training, where Guru kind of tests this surrender of the disciple, and Guru also helps the disciple to become more humble and more detached. Detachment is not just detachment from material opinions, detachment from one's own obsessions and opinions and infatuations also. So that helps us to cultivate the mode of humility and surrender. At the same time, Guru also notices, is this devotee genuinely attached to this limb of bhakti? Then let me direct him towards that limb. Initially there may be a little push, or quote unquote force, or request or instruction, whatever you may call. But after some time, Guru understands the mode of the disciple also. Then Guru will assign those services to the disciples which they are good at, which they prefer to do happily and gratefully without feeling so anxious. So that acknowledgement of Guru's desire and disciples' desire on each other's part is a very sweet aspect of the relationship. Although I am not excited with it, my Guru wants me to do it, let me do it. And Guru will feel, oh, this devotee is good at this, let him do it. So Guru gives preferences to the devotee's, disciples' desires, and disciple gives preference to Guru's desires. And Guru sees, oh, this disciple is not so comfortable with this service, let me give this service to another disciple who is more comfortable. So Guru also will distribute services accordingly. That's about Guru. And as far as another senior devotee is concerned, you have little more flexibility. Of course, we need to see the senior devotee also as a representative of Guru, depending on the particular relationship you have with them. But you can also express honestly
that, oh, I prefer to do that service, can I do this? But not in a mode of escaping or manipulating them. Honestly expressing one's inability or disinclination to do some service is not a spiritual crime. But diplomatically maneuvering the seniors to make them say what you want to hear, that's a crime. So honesty is the best policy. Let's be honest in our expressions, whether it is yes or no, be humble, be respectful. And before saying a no, let's make a humble, honest attempt to do this service to please the other devotee. Whether the devotee is guru or not, is a devotee after all. And he is senior to me. Why not honor the words? If I have to stretch myself a little bit to see please the devotee, let me do it. But if it's too painful to you, you are unable to function properly while doing that activity, you can always go and express, I'm sorry, these are the difficulties I am facing while doing this service. Can you please change it or give some other service? Or another devotee is good at it, can you please assign it to him? Some solution you present in a positive way, not in a manipulative way. That's fine. Does it make sense? Okay. We can do it.
Yes, Government Darshan Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think the last part is my best part. I think it's very relevant to why we have bliss as an